Deb is the education section leader at Brown Falconer. She's had extensive experience, extensive educational facilities planning expertise, and also brings a unique perspective to her role because she's also worked in departments of education in South Australia and even in Tasmania. So a lot of understanding across Australia. And she personally is committed to developing design solutions that respond to pedagogical priorities and also enhance student learning outcomes. So we'll let you take it on from there. And
I'm going to give you back a little bit of me time now. So if you feel comfortable doing so, I'd just like you to close your eyes and take yourself back to a favourite memory of your childhood. Just think about where that is. What sort of feelings does it evoke? What sort of thoughts? Who may be with you? And the location. Does everyone have a favourite memory? We're getting some nods. Okay. So if you open your eyes back up now, I'm just going to test a theory that I have, and I think probably people have seen this at other workshops as well. But put your hand up if that memory took place outside. Yep. So 90% of where I've seen this done before, 90% of our favourite childhood memories will be something that takes place out of doors. I'll just let you read that little quote by the wonderful William Blake. So what do you think our affinity with nature is? What does it evoke? What sort of feelings? And this is going to be audience participation time, so throw up your hand and just think about your childhood memory. What sort of feeling did you have going back there, back to that place?
Adventure.
Adventure, yep.
Joy and wonder.
Joy and wonder, beautiful, thank you, Jenny.
Being away from parents.
Yes, yeah, absolutely, yep. Thank you, Andrew.
A sense of peace and calm. And
Absolutely. Happiness, yeah, yep. Anyone else? No. So if we put together a series of words, you've said all of the things, they're all on the list there. Of course, it's peaceful, it's calming, nature gives us sensory feedback. It's beautiful. You get fresh air, natural daylight, it's discovery and adventure. There's dreaming and exploring, socialisation, connectedness and inspiration. So I guess the question is, if the natural environment is where our youngest learners are inspired and truly engaged, what does this then mean for the spaces that we design, indoor and outdoor spaces? Came across some research that tells us that 16% of the learning environment actually impacts, the students' learning progress over a year, 16% of that can be attributed to the learning environment. So just looking at this little pie chart here, that little green pie is the 16%. If you think a student comes to school with all of these other things having to go right for them to have a positive outcome, have to have a happy home life, good nutrition, need to be a little bit motivated, have some friendships, some good support networks, you need to have safe housing as a basic provision, some self-esteem, sense of well-being, Generally you need your health and of course effective educators, but even if you have all of those things going for you, you still need to bridge a gap of 16% of factors outside of your control to reach your full potential. So, that seems a pretty big figure to me, and it means we've got a really big responsibility as designers to help in that respect. So just breaking down that 16%, what are those physical characteristics that make up that 16%? And you'll see from that diagram, the darker side in orange, they're environmental factors. So, it's light, temperature, and air quality. And most importantly, it's fresh air, it's natural daylight, it's thermal comfort, natural ventilation, all of those things that are sustainable principles and, related to what Stephen's been telling us. Another 28% is individualisation. So that's about having control over your environment, being flexible so that you can manipulate it to how you want to use it. And it's about feeling a sense of well-being and belonging. And the remaining 23% is about stimulation. So, it's aspects of design such as colour and texture and materials, the complexity of space, not just being in a square box, but providing things that inspire. Aesthetics, inspiration, diversity of space. So if we go back to the words that describe some of the values of the natural environment, the biggest thing was also engagement. You think back about losing hours being outdoors and, maybe not for my generation, but my parents, I definitely remember them saying, we were told on the weekend, go outside, we don't want to see you until dinner time. And, you would go out there and you would discover and find, a happy place to be and you would be fine. So it's engagement, it's that immersion in the natural environment. So if we think of some of those physical characteristics that we've just been through, the environmental factors, fresh air, natural systems, daylight, really important. Individualisation, so it's creating friendships, feeling that sense of freedom, creativity, sensory feedback, connectedness and socialisation. And stimulation, of course. Beauty, timelessness, dreaming, exploring, discovery, imagination and inspiration. So the overlap between the values we have from the natural environment and things that we can design is really strong. But this one here, I really just want to touch on beauty, and it's a word that Stephen used in his talk, but something that is really important. And I'll just let you read this beautiful quote here from Vea Vecchi, who is an Italiarista at Reggio Emilia in Italy. A lot of you will be familiar with the Reggio Emilia principles. I know Andrew sitting up in the back there could probably get up here and talk to you for an hour about Reggio Emilia. And it's another thing that has a really positive impact on children's lives as well as a pedagogy. But the task of teaching cannot forget beauty, and obviously the task of design can't either. But there has been some research on what this actually means, and David Gilkey is an educator from Tasmania, and he did his master's paper on beauty and aesthetics in childhood settings, and really exploring what beauty means to families and early learners. And what he found was exposure to beauty raises our attentiveness. It gives attention to detail. It makes us appreciate things more. It gives us a sense of well-being, a sense of wonder. Helps us to build connections between inanimate and animate objects. Gives us an awareness of nature and ecosystems. Stress reduction. Hope, discovery, improved mental engagement. So all of these things that for students and learning are really critical. Some of the key design principles for learner engagement and wellbeing, and this is really summarising some of these values that we've just talked through. A connection to nature, really important. sustainable design, all of those features about views out, natural ventilation, connection to nature, connection and learning, and that's about feeling a sense of well-being, belonging to a place and making connections between people. Comfort, safety and security. Diverse learning settings, spaces that inspire, and you can move between settings to find the place that you learn best. And a sense of awe and wonder. So some of the positive impacts that we've seen, and it's been clients coming back and saying, oh look, this is really what we've seen after we've been using the building for a period of time, or it's even working through the process and saying, wow, this is actually happening to us. Increased engagement, of course. Peer-to-peer mentoring. Student retention. Student-teacher relationship changes. Student attendance increases. Reduced OH&S incidences, and this is particularly where there's special needs or some severe student behavioural issues. Where there's a calming environment, it just really damps that down. And obviously staff experience some better outcomes there. Self-moderating behaviour, reduction in violent behaviours, and calmer students that come to school ready to learn. And Rachel Carson, anyone in the sustainable environment circles will obviously understand her contribution, but I'll just leave you with that thought, and I've probably gone under time now, but what? Right, okay, very good. But I think that's quite beautiful and something that we can all take away into our personal and working lives. So thank you. Hopefully there's lots of time for questions.